Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Travel and Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very much. And as a social worker in this area, it really makes me happy to find out and talk to you about all of the wonderful things that's being done. A lot of things that we don't always see as we start to recover and rebuild. There's some organizations that are doing it better than others. The Bayou Community Foundation, one of those, their executive director, Jennifer Armand, is here. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you very much, Keith. It's always a delight to be
I
here.
appreciate that. Thank you. But there's been such good things happening and such good news. Tell us a little bit about some of these things that are now coming to fruition that y'all have been working on.
Yes. Well, first, for anyone who has not heard about Bayou Community Foundation, we are the community foundation specifically serving our precious coastal region of Lafourche, Terrebonne, and Grand Isle. This is our home. We want to strengthen and grow this area, and most importantly, make it a sustainable coastal community for generations to come. So to do that, Bayou Community Foundation invests in nonprofits. We help nonprofits build their capacity and fill critical needs. And we do that through our grants program, but also through our Bayou Recovery Fund,
Right.
which has become so important since Hurricane Ida made landfall here in August 29th, 2021. So since then, it's hard to believe it'll be 2 years this summer, but since then, our Bayou Recovery Fund has raised over $8 million to invest back in our community. First of all, to provide relief,
Right.
food, water, gas, all those important necessities that everyone needed right after the storm.
Right.
But then after that, we have gone into recovery mode to help build lives and build homes again.
And rebuild.
Yes, and rebuild after the storm. And so for the past over a year, probably about 15 months, our focus has been on housing recovery. Because as you know, thousands of people lost their homes in Hurricane Ida. We had people living in tents and in their cars, and Bayou Community Foundation knew that that's where we had to put our focus because that was the key to really rebuilding our community. And so working with wonderful nonprofits who are rebuilding volunteers,
Right.
Mennonite Disaster Service Storm Aid, which is an Amish group that's been
Right.
working in Dulac, as well as other groups, Mennonite Disaster Service RV group in Grand Isle, the Nomads, a Methodist organization
Right.
in Grand Isle, CARE, which is another Amish group working in South Lafourche and in Grand Isle. We have been able to invest over $3 million so far to repair and rebuild homes. And those numbers are just staggering. We are so blessed to be able to help people this way, thanks to the generosity of our donors. But with these rebuilding volunteers and the support of our donors, Bayou Community Foundation has been able to buy building supplies and manage repair and rebuilding programs that have affected over 350 families and brought them back home.
And we've got some great shots of some of that work that's being done. Walk us through this as Jen brings up
Sure.
some of these pictures here.
Sure. We call our payday
Okay.
is our home dedication day.
Nice.
And here is Miss Gypsy Collins and her family in Chauvin. They received their home built by Bayou Community Foundation and MDS Storm Aid volunteers earlier this month. And it was such a delightful day to celebrate with them. This is another family, the LaBeouf family in Dulac,
Yep.
who were welcomed home a few weeks ago as well. And Miss Tammy Manuel in Dulac, that was just a few weeks ago. The wonderful partnership between BCF and MDS Storm Aid has produced these storm resilient homes. They
Right.
are built to withstand 150 mile per hour winds, elevated, as you can see,
Yeah, clearly.
very, very
Yeah.
high.
20 plus feet.
Anywhere from 10 to 15 feet
Right. Huge.
to far above the federal requirements for
Right.
flood elevation. So these are very strong and safe homes, and we are so pleased to be able to help these
happy.
families who lost everything during Ida. As you can see, a very happy day
Oh, yeah.
for Miss Gypsy.
Right.
And there's her family on their new porch. Many of these homes are built exactly where the former homes stood before they
Okay.
were destroyed by Hurricane Ida. And it's wonderful to see these families move out of those FEMA trailers and those state trailers and
Right.
into a home of their own. And we are just so delighted for that.
Well, and listen, as happy as y'all are for that, I mean, we as a community cannot thank you enough for what you're doing for some of those people that otherwise would not have a home. They would have to leave, you know,
Yeah. Thank you.
or they would still be living in a tent or a car
Right. You're right.
or a camper.
It just amazes me that people in other parts of the country, their first reaction to a storm like this is, well, those people need to move.
Yeah. Why don't you just leave?
Right.
Well, it's the only home and the only home area that some people have ever known.
Yes.
I've never, ever lived anywhere other than in Houma and in Terrebonne Parish. And my wife and I have this conversation all the time about whether or not I ever want to. It's a beautiful place to be, and you have made
Yes.
you and the organization that you work with, certainly with Bayou Community Foundation and all of those nonprofits that y'all work with, have just created newer homes and a new life for these people. It's just remarkable.
Yeah.
And it's a little
Thank you.
overwhelming
Yes, it
for
is.
me, but I mean, the volume of support and partnerships that y'all have and the way that y'all do that is just remarkable. And there's a lot of new good things to come, but y'all are not only doing the good work, y'all are not only helping people, y'all are getting recognized from some of that. Let's talk about this award from Lieutenant Governor Billy Young.
Yes.
Sir.
We were delighted. Well, first, let me say nothing that we do is to be recognized.
No, listen, that goes without saying.
Right.
But it's nice that you are.
Well, it is nice for our area to be recognized
Okay.
and our volunteers to be recognized and for the focus to be on our area at times because we know that while recovery has started, we still have a long way to go. So we were delighted this week, just on Tuesday, Bayou Community Foundation's group of volunteers rebuilding Dulac, South Lafourche, and Grand Isle were awarded the Champions of Service Award for the state of Louisiana. We were honored at a luncheon hosted by Volunteer Louisiana and Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Volunteer Louisiana is a commission housed within the Office of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism.
Right.
And we were surrounded by all these wonderful volunteers from throughout the state. Their stories were inspiring, folks who help in so many ways in their community. And of course, we were so happy to receive this award in honor of all of the 1,500 volunteers who have come in and out of our area to repair and rebuild homes. And of course, many of our local residents who serve on our application committees and vetting committees and really walk with our homeowners that we are helping throughout the process.
Right.
Because we are not only rebuilding and repairing their homes, we are helping them rebuild their lives. There's so much spiritual fulfillment for all of us as we help each other down this road. And we were just so happy it was a very special day, Tuesday.
Well, and it's not all of those people, but people like Katie who are working there and people really making a difference taking applications. We may think, oh, okay, well, you're just taking applications. Well, guess what? It's a starting point.
Yes.
We can't go anywhere else without getting that application and moving that forward. And so those are the kinds of things that really are so important. People may think it's a little thing, but that little thing can create and bring some huge results.
Oh, yes. And many of these people, many of our local volunteers lost so much themselves.
Right.
And they just put that aside and went to work to help people who had lost even more, which is just truly inspiring.
Yeah, my wife and I talk about it all the time is we're still not finished. We're still not finished with work, but there's so many people that are still so needy of all these things, and they're still needing so much more. So we're humbled all the time, and that's the one thing that I'm hearing and feeling is humility about the great work that's being done, and it is great work.
Yeah,
in our community.
thank
But
you.
there's a whole lot more that y'all are excited about being able to do, right?
Yes. So
Or maybe I should say and.
Yes,
not but,
and,
but
and,
Right.
and.
Additionally, in addition to.
We our work in Dulac will come to a close on June 2nd. That's when
Okay.
our wonderful Amish volunteers from Storm Aid will be leaving. But we are really, really hoping to have them or another group return in October to South Lafourche.
Okay.
We have started a repair program this year in South Lafourche, but the need need there is tremendous, as you can imagine, from La Rose to Cutoff, Galliano, and Golden Meadow, a much larger geographical area than Dulac.
Right.
Substantial damage. We have already accepted nearly 100 applications in that area and are expecting at least 20 new builds needed.
Wow.
So we are working hard to secure a volunteer building partner to move to La Rose with us in October and start a 1 to 2 year rebuilding program there.
Wow.
We know the need is there, and
Right.
we believe we can get donor support once people understand that continuing need. And there's so many connections, people from throughout the country, companies throughout the country
Right.
who have roots there
Right.
in South Lafourche or Fouchon.
Right. Wanting to help.
We believe we can raise the money. We will be working hard to raise the money to help more people in that area.
I was talking with Archie Chesson about that very thing. Of course, the Lafourche Parish president, and he and I were talking about that very thing, about how there's so much more work that needs to be done. So I can tell you on behalf of Lafourche Parish government and Archie, they are so very thankful for that.
Well, thank you.
So it's really, really exciting. Now, there's something else going on with Nichols.
Yes, we are excited. On May 25th, we're going to have a premiere of a documentary. The title of the documentary is Resurgence: From Ida to Recovery, and it's a documentary produced by Nichols students and staff. Bayou Community Foundation provided a grant to Nichols to help them with some of that production about a year ago, and we'll be premiering that documentary May 25th. And so we're very happy about that. It's a wonderful partnership, and I think it'll shine some light on the great work that's being done, and also the challenges and risks that our community still faces, and the ways that we're adapting as a community to face those risks. So we're excited about that.
Wow. Well, the partnerships that y'all have here locally, the partnerships with Nichols and doing this documentary, the partnerships that y'all are looking forward to for helping with the rebuild and doing whatever you can with those 100 applications, those 20 plus homes that'll be built in Lafourche area. Those things are just really exciting.
Yeah.
And so it's very much appreciated. So thank you for all the hard work, for all the volunteers, for everybody that works there with Bayou Community Foundation. We're thankful and appreciative. And we thank you for coming on to share the good news with us.
Thank you.
And sharing some of those smiling faces
Yes.
that are so very nice to see. So we appreciate that, Jennifer.
Thank
and
you,
for all the
Steve.
work partnering with some of us local social workers who need some help. We
Yes,
appreciate that as well.
absolutely.
All right, very good. And that will do it for us. Thank you, Miss Jennifer. That will do it for us here. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming, more Bayou time right here on HTV.